The Battle of Brávellir, or the Battle of Brávellir, was a legendary battle that is described in the sagas as taking place on the Brávellir between Sigurd, king of Sweden, and the Geats of Östergötland, and his uncle Harald Wartooth, king of Denmark and the Geats of Östergötland. Cause: Harald had inherited Sweden from his maternal grandfather Ivar Vidfamne, but ruled Denmark and East Götaland, whereas his subordinate king Sigurd was the ruler of Sweden and West Götaland. According to legend, Harald Wartooth realized that he was growing old and might die of old age and therefore not go to Valhalla. He consequently asked Sigurd if he would let him leave this life gloriously in great battle. Preparation. According to Saxo Grammaticus, both hosts prepared for 7 years, and mustered armies of 200,000 men. Harald was joined by the legendary heroes Ubba of Friesland, Uvle Breed, the One-Eyed, Dag the Fat, Duck the Slov, Hroi Whitebeard, and Hothbrod the Indomitable, as well as 300 shield maidens led by Hed, Visna of the Slavs, and Hedborg. Sigurd recruited the legendary heroes Starkard, Eagle the Bald, Gret the Evil, Big Nose, Einar the Fat-Bellied, and Erling Snake. Famous Swedes were Awaki, Kekla Karl, Krok the Peasant, Gummy, and Gudfast from Gislarmark. They were joined by scores of Norwegians, Slavs, Finns, Estonians, Curonians, Biarmians, Livonians, Saxons, Angles, Frisians, Irish, Russ, etc., all picking their sides. Whole forests were chopped down in order to build 3,000 longships to transport the Swedes. Harald's Danes had built so many ships that they could walk across the Sound. The numbers are obviously exaggerated, certainly tenfold or more. For comparison with the 3,000 Swedish ships, the Ledang fleets of the Scandinavian kingdoms numbered around 300 ships each during the Viking Age. Location: the Hervera saga OK Hythrix speaks of Brávellir I Östergötlandi, and in Sogabrot af Nokrum Konungum the battle is said to have taken place south of Kolmarden, which separated Svealand from East Götaland and is where Braviken is located. Kolmark, Skilsfith Joth OK Östergötland, Semhai Tir Bravik. Saxo ends his account by saying, "Thus ended the Battle of Bravik." Most historians have held the battle to have taken place near Braviken, but in the 17th century a minority view appears to have located it in Småland at Lake Asnen. Battle. The accounts found in Gesta Danorum and the Sogabrot saga are essentially the same. At first the two armies fought collectively, but after a while Ubbi was in the center of attention. He slew first Ranvald the wise counsellor, then the champion Trygve and 3 Swedish princes of the royal dynasty. Humbled, King Sigurd sent forth the champion Starkard, who managed to wound Ubbi but was himself even more seriously wounded. Then Ubbi killed Agnar, and took the sword in both hands and slashed a path through the Swedish host, until he fell riddled with arrows from the archers of Telemark. Then the shield maiden Veborg killed the champion Soti and managed to give additional wounds to Starkard, who was greatly angered. Furious, Starkard went forth in the Danish army, killing warriors all around him, and cut off the shield maiden Visna's arm, which held a Danish banner. Starkard then proceeded to slay the champions Bray, Greppa, Gamli and Haki. When Harald had observed these heroic feats, he stood on his knees in his chariot with one sword in each hand and killed a great many warriors both to his left and to his right. After a while, Harald's steward Bruni deemed that his liege had amassed enough glory and crushed the king's skull with a club. Outcome: Sigurd won the battle and became the sovereign ruler of all of Sweden and Denmark. Historicity. The general agreement on the historicity of the battle has turned back and forth during the last 2 centuries depending on what was the prevalent ideology among Scandinavian historians. In 1925, the Swedish archaeologist Birger Nerman summarized the ebbs and tides of its historicity. He stated that older scholarship had treated the accounts of the battle uncritically and perceived the accounts as largely historical. During the last decades of the 19th century, however, the hypercritical school considered the battle as entirely fictional and considered even the area where it took place as mythical. The pendulum turned, and during the first decades of the 20th century, the opinion was once again in favor of its historicity, although the contemporary scholarship regarded it as a fictionalized historic event. In 1990, the Swedish encyclopedia Nationalencyklopedin summed up the debate by claiming that the historicity of the battle is impossible to verify. There is also a hypothesis relating the battle to the events of 827 when Harald Klak was expelled from Denmark.